The first U.S. diplomats to visit Syria since President Bashar Assad's ouster earlier this month are now in Damascus to hold talks with the country's new leaders and seek information on the whereabouts of missing American journalist Austin Tice. Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs Barbara Leaf, former Special Envoy for Syria Daniel Rubinstein and the Biden administration's Chief Envoy for Hostage Negotiations, Roger Carstens, made the trip for talks with Syria's interim leaders, the State Department said early Friday. The team is also the first group of American diplomats to formally visit Syria in more than a decade since the U.S. shuttered its embassy in Damascus in 2012. At the top of their agenda will be information about Tice, who went missing in Syria in 2012. And they will push the principles of inclusion, protection of minorities and a rejection of terrorism and chemical weapons that the Biden administration says will be critical for any U.S. support for a new government. The rebel group that spearheaded the assault on Damascus that forced Assad to flee, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, is designated a foreign terrorist organization by the United States and others. While that designation comes with a raft of sanctions, it does not prohibit U.S. officials from speaking to its members or leaders. The State Department said Rubinstein, Leaf and Carstens would meet with HTS officials but did not say if the group's leader Ahmad al-Sharaa, who was once aligned with al-Qaeda, would be among those they see. U.S. officials say al-Sharaa's public statements about protecting minority and women's rights are welcomed, but they remain skeptical that he will follow through on them in the long run. The U.S. has not had a formal diplomatic presence in Syria since 2012, when it suspended operations at its embassy in Damascus during the country's civil war, although there are U.S. troops in small parts of Syria engaged in the fight against the Islamic State militant group.
Did you meet with Ahmed Jarrah? ممكن بعدين هلا 4 لربا. وين الربا هون؟ 4 لربا.
وين تحديدا هون؟
هون بالفور سيزونز بس 4 لربا.
بدويتنا نحن.
Vietnam is hosting a defense expo that brings together some 250 exhibitors, including geopolitical rivals, including the US, China, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, and Iran. US exhibitors include Boeing and Textron Aviation. China is present with Norinco and Gaudu International Trade. Iran's Defense Ministry Pavilion isn't far from booths set up by Israeli companies Rafael Advanced Defense Systems and Israel Aerospace Industries. A number of Russian firms, along with Ukraine's Motor Sich, are also in attendance. Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh called the event a message of peace, cooperation and development. Vietnam has been trying to increase its domestic arms manufacturing while reducing its reliance on Russia for weapon imports. In 2022, Russia made up around 60% of all of Vietnam's military purchases, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. But Vietnam's long-standing efforts to diversify its imports have been accelerated by the war in Ukraine. It has also been trying to boost its own capacity to manufacture arms and display locally produced military equipment at the expo. Escalating tensions in the South China Sea, a key trade and security route, is a key issue for Vietnam. Vietnam has been critical of China's increasingly hostile actions in the disputed waters. Vietnam and other Southeast Asian countries have overlapping claims in the busy sea passage. The expo, held at Hanoi's Gia Lam Airport, continues through Sunday.
nay tôi rất vui mừng cùng quý vị tham dự triển lãm quốc phòng với thông điệp hòa bình, hợp tác, cùng phát triển, góp phần thúc đẩy đối ngoại và hợp tác quốc phòng trên tất cả các lĩnh vực vì hòa bình, ổn định, hợp tác và phát triển ở khu vực và trên thế giới.
In this region, currently is one of the main concerns of all the armed forces in the region. How to collect the information from the South China Sea, how to analyze this information, and how to pick up exactly what are the right concerns that you need to deal with them later. And developing those kind of systems, integrating AI technology as well, and all other kinds of analyzing the information will actually benefit, our partners in the region.
đẹp này qua bên quay được